Spoiler alert, I'm an idiot. Hi everyone, welcome back to the All Out Motorsports YouTube channel. I'm your host Alex Bowman, and today we are cleaning up from the last race at Caesars Creek Speedway. Let's get started. All right, so we're supposed to be racing at the new Cincy Speedway. However, the track isn't quite ready yet, so this weekend didn't have any racing to do. So today we're just gonna work on getting everything cleaned up from the past race. So basically what that entails is taking the body and engine off of both karts, cleaning air filters, cleaning the bodies, spraying down the frame, just generally going through and getting everything all cleaned up. And then I'll kind of leave it clean until a couple days before the next race, and then at that point I will go through and lube up all the bearings, chain, and all that stuff. That way it's nice and fresh for the race. To start off with, we're gonna come out here and we are going to clean up the tires. So these aren't quite as dirty as they were because they've been sitting outside in the weather all week so that they can harden up. They've hardened up quite a bit since then. They still have a little bit more that they need to go, but some of the dirt has been washed off of them. However, I need to get them rest of the way clean, and to do that I have this cool little bucket that one of my friends designed. Basically, you take a drill, you put this in the drill bit, and then this clamps onto the wheel, and then you fill this with water, spin it in here, the brushes clean it, use these little paddles to dry it, and you're all good to go. Tires are all nice and clean now. Taking a look at them, they not super clean. Like you can see, some of them still a little dirty, but that's not a big deal because they're going to be resurfaced anyways, so they don't have to be perfect. I just wanted to get most of the dirt off of them, so hopefully they will harden up more. I'm not sure if having dirt on them or off of them helps more with getting them to harden up, but they haven't hardened much so far, so hopefully getting the dirt off of them will help with that. As you saw, I actually needed to get the other bucket out and scrub it by hand because that dirt was so caked on there, and a lot of times when there's a lot of calcium on the track and stuff, it results in me needing to put some more elbow grease into it than I can with the drill and bucket method. But yeah, I ended up getting them all cleaned pretty well. Moving on, it's starting, well, it looks pretty light out still in that, but it's starting to get dark out. So I'm going to work on getting things prepared for tomorrow. In order to do that, I'm just going to be taking the engines off, and I might go ahead and take the bodies off as well. I might leave them on, I'm not sure. I don't have a ton of room to be putting bodies without the carts on them, so I'll figure that one out. But to start off with, I'm going to go ahead and get both of the engines off. Got the engines off of both carts, got them sitting over here. I went ahead and changed the oil as well for both of them. That way they're ready to go. I still need to clean the air filter sitting over here, but that'll be for tomorrow. So next thing I'm going to do is go through both of the engines. You can see this one I already took the chain guard off, and just wipe them down with like some WD-40 and get them all nice and clean. got both engines all cleaned up. They are both looking fantastic. Pretty easy to clean them this early in the year when there's not a bunch of dirt caked on them and stuff. And then also there just wasn't a bunch of dirt kicking around at the track. I also went ahead and stripped down the karts to where I need them to be tomorrow for cleaning. So obviously the engine's already off. Took the seat off, took the rear axle off, and I did that on both karts. So you can come over here to Aries and you can see again, seat off, rear axle out. And yeah, I'll have to take the body off before I clean them tomorrow, but I don't have room to have it all in the garage. So that'll be for tomorrow. I'm going to go ahead and call it a night though, because I've been doing a lot of work and I want to go relax some. On to cleaning day part 2. So far we have, I've got the clutch cleaning. Basically just dip it in a bowl of acetone, let it soak for about 10 minutes, and then set it in the sun, blow it out with air, let it sit in the sun so that it gets all nice and dried out, and then relube the bearings. I'll do that with both clutches. Next, I am going to do the air filters. So basically, what I'll do is take the pre-filters off, and then basically just dip these in gasoline, and it basically gets them nice and perfectly clean again. So I'll just bring the air filter over here. As you can see, it's not super dirty. My pre-filters do a really good job. So just bring it over, stick it down in here, kind of a tight fit with this container I've got. Shake it around some. And there you go. All nice and clean. You can look at the gas and you can see most of that's just like the oil that I put in to catch everything, washes it all out. You can see some of the dirt down there in the bottom. And just set that aside. Before anyone gets on me about it, I know that's not the best for longevity of the air filters. However, I'm not here for longevity. I'm just, you know, cleaning them. I replace them probably a couple times a year. Man, no, maybe once a year. Halfway through the year, I'll get a new one. Yeah, I don't really care about longevity that much because I don't use them that long. And just like that, all of the air filters are clean. Only took like a minute total. I've got the second clutch sitting in here. As you can tell, those don't get super dirty or anything. It barely changes the color of the acetone. Meanwhile, here, let me get this container of gasoline back out and I'll show you how. Look how dirty that got. That was clear before. Well, as clear as gasoline gets. But yeah, so that is definitely very effective. And I got this nice container that screws back on and I just leave it sit outside. Yeah, so moving on, I'm going to be spraying down my karts. This is my first time actually cleaning them with water. Normally I'd wipe them down with like a rag and WD-40, but I know a lot of people that use water and just spray them off, and then yeah, make sure like you come back with air and blow out the moving parts. But I've never done that before, but we're gonna try it this year because if a lot of people do it, it must be pretty effective. So we're gonna try that out and see how it works out. Okay, that actually went really well. I got both of them cleaned in about the time it would have taken me to do one of them, wiping it down. Actually, it probably would have taken me longer to do one of them than that. I think it only took me like half an hour or so to do that. So that was awesome. It turned out really well. I was worried about how clean they would get. So what I did was I sprayed them off and then got the air hose and blew off most of the standing water with that. As you can see, this one, there's some water spotting, but that's fine. I figured that was going to happen in a few places. So I'll just wipe that down to get rid of that. And that's really all I'm going to have to go back and do on this one. Obviously, you have to clean the axle and the bearings and the seat, but that's not a big deal. That won't take me long to do. On this one, see, so that is Aries, or that's Nike, so that's the new one. This is Aries, this is the older one, so it didn't turn out quite as clean, but that's just because it's not going to get as clean. It's worn out and used. It's worn out and used, so it's not going to get as clean looking. I'm going to have to go back through and kind of wipe off the floor pan some more. Yeah, other than that, it looks really good though. I'm super happy with how well that worked. So moving on, next is going to be cleaning everything that's on the axles. Oh, and I sprayed off the bodies as well. They're sitting up there on the hill drying. I did this a little late in the day, so I'm running out of places to put stuff to leave it in the sun. Everything's all nice and dry now. I went ahead and wiped down the floor pans with some WD-40, got all the water spotting off of it, and now that they're dry, I can officially say that spraying them off actually worked really well. Yeah. And this is also the first time I've had these both sitting next to each other, bare frame. And it's really interesting to see the differences between the two different styles. So it's the same brand, just the one is a like one generation newer. And they're supposed to be relatively the same, but there's a couple just minor tweaks. So like, for example, this is the new one. You can see these bars go up and they just stay like that, and they kind of this shape. And then if you come over here, they actually are two separate. It's got this connection here, and then that's it. And it's a little bit different shape. And then this one has this support bar here, which like never really does anything. I think it's just there to, like, if you have an impact from this side, it's supposed to keep that from collapsing in. But this one doesn't have that. Those are really kind of the two big differences that I have seen. I'm sure there's other smaller ones with like some of the angles and things like that, but it's just pretty interesting to see what some of the differences are. This is the first time I've had them next to each other to see that. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the rear axle in, bring this over. You've got the bearings right there. They just sit right in the grooves there. This one's a little difficult because this brake guard kind of hits the brake. So you got to do a little pushing it past there. And then line those grooves up. They just fall right into the grooves on the carrier. Same thing over here, you can see, boom, just like that. Put the tops on and tighten it down. But before I tighten it down, I'm actually gonna take it back out and clean that a little bit better. And just like that, the axle is all nice and clean. Still need to clean the chain and clean the bearings out, but I will do that when it's time for me to lube them up the week leading up to the race. I figure it's just easier to clean it and lube it all at once instead of taking it apart, cleaning it, putting it back together, taking it apart again, lubing it, putting it back together. I'll just do it all at once. Now, time to do the axle on the other cart. Got the axles all put back together and cleaned. I also went ahead and put the front wheel hubs back on. Kind of same story with these as the back bearings. I just wiped down the outside of them. I'll take them apart and clean them and everything next week when it's closer to race day. All I have left to do is throwing on the seats, and then I'll get to the engines at some point. I'm not sure if that'll be this week or next week. But yeah, only thing I have left to clean is the seats, which will just be a quick wipe down, And that's it. We're going to finish off this video by taking a look at my crash that I had during qualifying and kind of looking at some of the data from the Micron, and I'm going to walk you through the video footage as well. Spoiler alert, I'm an idiot. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I've already got the video queued up here. So we'll start off. This is me pulling onto the track. Getting my tires where I want them to be. All right, coming to the green for the first lap. Everything's good, feeling like I'm setting a good pace. Come off the corner, and right here is where things start to go wrong. So I looked down at my tack and saw that I had only ran a 10.7, and I knew the previous qualifying I had ran a 10.3, and that only got me 9th. So I'm thinking I need another 10.3, and I just ran a 10.7, so I'm like, ooh, I really need to pick it up. As we find out, really, I only needed like a 10.55 to make it into the show. So I really only needed 2 tenths, and I was trying to get a whole lot more. So at this point in the video, that's when I glanced down at the tack and saw the 10.7 and thought, ooh, I need to pick it up. So I come through here, everything's good, wrapped that super well, and looking back on it, Brandon and my dad actually told me that that looked incredible. That was like the best 2 and 3 that they had seen while they were watching. And then my smart brain, I feel how much grip there was in 2 and 3, and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to send it and barely lift through the center of 3 and 4, and I think it's going to stick. So I have that idea right about here. I drive down to the corner. Right about there is when I realized my mistake. And from here, I realized that I'm going to get real tight. And I'm hoping I'm going to make it. So go forward a little bit more. You can see right there, my foot did the first blip of the throttle. I thought that was going to make it hook. It did not. So keep sliding out. Still in the gas there. As you can see, I'm about to get into the fluff out here. And so we're going to go frame by frame now. Still in it, getting into the fluff. Right there is when I realized, oh wait, I'm not going to make this. I'm all the way out here in all this loose dirt and everything. And that wall is coming up quick. So I finally get out of the gas some there. And driving it. And right here, I'm enough out that it starts snapping around on me. So, actually not quite yet. There it's still going, and right there it starts to snap. And I'm kind of glad that it did, because it hit with the tire first instead of the body. It would have destroyed the body if it hit that first. So I'm coming around. One of the things I think is really fun, so watch as I turn and have the back end towards the wall, watch my foot. Right at the last split second, right there, my foot instinctually hits the gas again to try to use the engine to drive it away from the wall. Meanwhile, poor flagman up here is waving the checkered flag for me that I'll never take. And then, yeah, I'm on the gas there trying to drive it off the wall. That doesn't work. I get off right before I hit the wall. And boom, barrels. So that's the video. Now, we're going to switch over to the data analysis. I really like data, and that's one of my favorite things about the Micron 5, is that it gives you a lot of really good data, and you can use Race Studio analysis to kind of compare everything. So, checking out this graph here, as you can see up here, we've got the blue line is, let's see. Okay, the blue line is the 10.7, the lap that was good. The whatever color that other line is, green possibly, I'm colorblind, don't judge me, is the lap where I crashed. So we've got speed up here, RPM down here. So if we're checking them out, we can see the green line is up here, so I'm doing better. Same corner entry, and look how much more speed I have down the back straightaway on that second lap. And you can see that in the RPM a bit as well. You can see right here I was able to commit to the throttle better on the second lap. You can see right there coming off the corner, I had to burp it a bit, and then that kind of bogged me down the whole time. But this one I was able to get in and stay steady all the way down the back. And coming to turn 3, we look up here, we can see this point right here is where I let off for entry of 3 on my first lap. So I'm going to put the reference marker there because up till that, it's comparable. From here, you can see my speed stay up and RPM stay up because I didn't lift until here instead of here. So at this point where my original lift point was, we come down here to the reference, and the number's actually over here. I was up 0.259 seconds. And that is basically what I missed out on qualifying into the show by. So at that point, I was locked in. I might have even been like 9th or 10th. However, I didn't realize that, so I decided to send turn 3 and 4 real hard. And yeah, clearly didn't work out. So, like I said, I'm an idiot because I probably would have had a better 3 and 4 than I did the first lap. Just I only needed a little bit better, but instead I tried to get a whole lot better, and it got worse. So I could have easily been locked in with that lap, but I didn't because I pushed it too hard and crashed. I'm an idiot. But that's racing. Kind of theme of the weekend was me being in over my head and doing better than I ever expected. So part of that was just me driving as hard as I possibly could. And those things happen when you're in racing. Anyways, that's all I got for today. Next week is going to be preparing the karts for the first race at Cincy Speedway. Hopefully, we've, fingers crossed, because we've tried this before. Hopefully this time around we actually get to race. So we got everything cleaned up today. Next week we'll be preparing everything for that race. Remember to like and subscribe, and pecker up, hammer down.